And good morning. It is Friday, February 13th, 2026. I am SirFelixTheCat, and this is Talk About Our Politics Morning Talk. So I have a few stories today. One of them is kind of a follow-up to something I talked about, I believe it was earlier this week. Oh, and something I talked about a couple weeks ago. Yeah, we have a few things, a few follow-up stories. All right, let's go. Let's hit the right button and not stop sharing. I'm off to a great start. All right. So first up, we talked about this the other day. Trump delivers a deadly blow to EPA's ability to regulate climate change pollution, or climate pollution, climate change in general. This is very much related to him getting bribed by a meaningless and very just made up award. So now he's the undisputed champion of coal. Which it's nothing. That's not a thing, but you know, you make up an award, give it to this guy, and he'll do whatever you want. I'm sure there's been money that's gone his way for this too, because that's the other thing he loves. He loves the attention and he loves money. So yeah, it's going to be very bad for us. Says here, first issued in 2009. The endangerment finding determined that 6 greenhouse gases could be categorized as dangerous to human health under the Clean Air Act. And, you know, we don't need clean air, do we? It has underpinned the EPA's authority to limit planet warming pollution from the oil and gas industry, power plants, and vehicles since the Obama administration. And is considered the federal government's most powerful tool to tackle climate pollution. And we've known, I mean, Trump's talked about it multiple times, how he wants to get rid of regulations. One, because these regulations that, you know, keep the air as clean as we can with having a oil and gas industry in general and vehicles. Yeah, it costs money. These companies have to pay money. And coal, no matter how much this administration likes to say, clean coal is not clean. I mean, that's why we know what black lung is. It came from the miners mining coal because it is not healthy to be around. It gets in your lungs and it will kill you. So yeah, Trump says this was all a scam, a giant scam. And this was a ripoff of the country by Obama. Nope. It made companies pay more to make sure they were meeting regulations. They were meeting standards. So it was hurting his buddies, the people who will pay him money. That's why it's ripoff to the country. Because again, Trump does not care about the people in this country. He cares about how can he make more money. Just another sign of that. Who's going to praise me and who will give me money? In better news, a judge temporarily blocks Pentagon action against Mark Kelly over illegal orders. And this is another time when, how I talked about yesterday, make sure you actually research headlines. Because again, I went to like CNN for the same article, and it was telling me, oh yeah, just judge blocks it, leaving out the temporary part because temporary is important in this. And then right-wing media would be saying how it's just corrupt judge does this. So middle ground went to NPR. Judge temporarily blocks basically Mark Hegseth's blatant attack on Mark Kelly because Mark Kelly came out and reminded service members like, hey, by the way, it is your right to refuse illegal orders. And from a corrupt administration, they're like, you can't tell them that. When we want them to commit a crime, they need to commit a crime. So this very, this guy's done everything. He's been an astronaut. He's been in the military. He's now a senator. They wanted to strip him of his pension from the military, which is not something that should be done, because he's reminding people of the oath they took to the country over a person. That was the most blatant sign from this administration, like, hey, we are trying to do illegal things. We are going to ask these soldiers eventually to commit heinous crimes. But yeah, luckily we do have a judge coming through to at least block it right now while it's being looked into. Thursday's ruling temporarily blocks the Pentagon from taking steps to discipline Kelly. It was issued by Judge Richard Leon, a George W. Bush appointee, in the U.S. District Court for the District of Columbia. This court has all it needs to conclude that defendants have trampled on Senator Kelly's First Amendment freedoms and threatened the constitutional liberties of millions of military retirees. After all, as Bob Dylan famously said, you don't need a weatherman to know which way the wind blows. That's the quote from Judge Leon, which is awesome. Awesome they threw Bob Dylan in there. But yeah, good thing for the judge to come through and do this, do the right thing. And yes, that is what this administration is trying to do, is trample on the constitutional liberties of not just millions of military retirees, but current soldiers and the people of the United States. So the Department of Homeland Security is pulling ICE out of Minnesota. They're starting the removal of their units, saying they came out and they were like, oh yeah, now that we have made Minnesota a safer place, we're going to go ahead and start our withdrawal. And of course, Minnesota Democrats come out and they're like, no. Like everybody has seen, everyone in the world has seen, they have done nothing to make it safer. If anything, we saw the fact that they are terrorists. They were participating in terrorist activities in Minnesota, in Minneapolis, when they killed U.S. citizens for no reason, but besides the fact that we have guns and we're going to do it because we want to. So, Representative Angie Craig on Thursday slammed claims from the federal immigration operations in Minnesota, which the administration said will draw down over the next week, that they made the state safer, and it's wildly untrue, which, yeah, we see. I am glad to hear that the admin I am glad to hear that the admin plans to withdraw ICE, Immigration and Customs Enforcement, and CBP, Customs and Border Protection, from Minnesota. However, their claims that Operation Metro Surge made Minnesota safer are wildly untrue. Their rogue agents killed 2 Minnesotans, traumatized children, and detained countless immigrants and U.S. citizens alike. ICE may be leaving, but Minnesotans will never forget the terror, because they're terrorists, they inflicted on our communities. Now we need to begin the difficult work of healing, which will take time. I mean, you were directly affected by federally funded terrorists. I mean, she calls it out quite clear right there. They will never forget the terror, because this is an administration using violent force for political gains. The definition of terrorism. It's absolutely vile. But yeah, it's good that they're calling it out. This needs to be a louder message. We need more people jumping on this, also claiming the fact that it is terror. I mean, they just need to add the ist to the end of it, because that's what the whole country should be chanting, that they are terrorists by the very definition of the word terrorist. And speaking of terrorists, Department of Homeland Security on track to shut down with lawmakers leaving Washington and unresolved ICE fight. Good. There actually was, I should have pulled up the article. I was reading it last night right before I went to bed. There is a representative, I believe a Democrat from California, if I'm not mistaken. She drafted a new bill proposal to basically say, yeah, we'll fund, Secret Service. We'll fund other divisions of it, but CBP and ICE, zero funding. And if any funding gets put there, it is a federal crime. Like they're not going to allow the DHS to move these funds to these two terrorist departments without it being a blatant crime. I'm pro shutdown at this point. Yeah, I feel bad for the people who are going to be hurting, like the innocent people who are going to be hurting. Those innocent people they're not ICE, they're not LARPers, and they're not Border Patrol either. We're going to talk about a Border Patrol person here in just a second. That wild story. But yeah, no, this shutdown needs to happen because they're trying to say we can't abolish ICE. Constitution says we can. So I don't see why we'd have any lawmaker saying, no, Constitution's wrong. We're right. You can't do that, even though it's written there in plain text. You can understand it just by reading it. Nope, we can't abolish it. But it 100% should be abolished. I'm for when they sit at the border checkpoints and they search a car to make sure we're not bringing in a bunch of weapons and guns. I get that. Makes sense. You're stopping some possible attack or some possible drugs. Cool. Kudos. But what they have been doing is not that. That is not border protection in any way. That is not immigration and customs control or enforcement in any way. It's basically just, hey, we're racist and also we're doing this so we can get your voter rolls. So we're going to wreak terror on your cities in hopes that eventually you guys just fold and give us what we want so we can steal the next election. And as we get closer to this midterm election, prepare to see them ramp up their efforts. Prepare to see them get more just radical. Or sorry, only the left can be radical. I forgot about that. The radical left. But yeah, hopefully this shutdown does happen and it does end up resolving this issue that ICE gets basically extreme funding cuts to the point where these new buildings they bought have to be sold because they can't afford them. And also remember, if you're pro ICE buying these locations, like these big warehouses, they're federal. They pay no taxes. In Pennsylvania, we have a couple new ones. That means these cities and towns are going to be leached off of. They will not pay any taxes. That means they don't pay towards the school taxes. If a company had bought it, they have to pay towards those school taxes. There's one of the cities, they don't have like a water system like most big cities do. They're a smaller town. Pennsylvania's a pretty old state. They're on a well system. So in the summer, currently, as it is, without ICE being there, their wells run dry or get really damn close to running dry. With them there, they're going to be using that water and abusing the water. So it's just more of an impact on the citizens who live in that area. You should not be against this because if you live in these areas, it directly affects you. But yeah, they should be forced to lose, I would say, 80% of their funding. They should also make sure that their people can understand the fact they're not getting paid that $50,000. It's just not going to happen. They should let them know, by the way, by being in this right now and the way we set this up, you'll probably be in jail before that payout's supposed to come, which means you won't get that payout because you won't have worked 5 years. Oh, okay. Next up, very interesting story. U.S. federal immigration officer charged with harboring undocumented person. Officer alleged to have had romantic relationship with daughter of man listed as his brother in investigation. No, it's not his brother. That makes it sound like he's sleeping with his niece. That's not at all what's going on here. Basically, where is he? Oh yeah, that is his name. Wilkinson was alleged to have a romantic relationship with this woman, or with this woman caught the eyes. So his relationship caught the eyes of authority last spring. Basically, on April 23rd, 2025, the U.S. Customs and Border Protection Office of Professional Responsibility, such a dumb name, received information from Homeland Security Investigations that Elva Edith Garcia Vallejo, a non-immigrant, was residing in Laredo, Texas, without legal authorization. The complaint alleges additionally that information indicated that Garcia Vallejo was living with her boyfriend, Supervisory Custom Border Protection Officer Wilkinson, who was aware of her unlawful status in the U.S. And, you know, to try to make it cool, they listed him as his brother, like her dad as his brother, to try to make everything fair, which is something people have done. They've kind of stretched the truth on like immigration applications to say like, hey, good morning, Pinky. To say, hey, you know, this is actually my brother. My brother, you know, just happened to be born in a different country than me. It happens. I'm not saying it's good. I'm not saying it's bad. Just it's a thing that's happened. But yeah, this is kind of upsetting because this guy works for an evil, corrupt organization. And because they're so just hateful and they don't want people to go through and be able to get like actual citizenship in this country, they want to just slap them to the ground because you're not like me. He found love with someone like that. So now, because he did that, he's going to get arrested. He's going to be doing time. She's going to get arrested and then deported. And it's going to be ICE and CBP that arrest her. So she's going to get tortured and possibly just killed because they won't feed her or something like that. And yeah, all because we have a very, very corrupt and racist government. And it's not just under Trump. I'll admit that. Obama was just as bad. He took a little more care of them. He made sure they were, for the most part, taken care of. He still had them in cages and took parents away from their kids. But yeah, this is something that definitely needs to change. When we have immigration reform in this country, maybe we quit being so racist about it. We make things work. If we want to actually live up to the standards that we has set as a country for many, many decades, we would help them get a place in this country. We would help them come over. Help them participate in the world. That is how you make the economy better in this country. Like, idiots don't seem to understand this. We need immigrants. We need them to come over. We want them to be part of us because they will put towards our economy. Yeah, housing becomes an issue. We do need to make more housing. We probably need to make sure that these billionaires don't have 5,000 acre lots where we could possibly build, 10, 20 more homes. But nah. No, we're going to let them have all this extra land. Multiple mansions and just thousands of acres. No. There's plenty of land for houses to be built. Maybe we just need people to live within reason. Maybe wealth caps would kind of help with that. Never would have thought. Never would have thought. And also, I want to talk about something. We're talking about immigrants. Billie Eilish got an award, whatever award show that was. And she said on stage, like in her acceptance speech, basically, no one can be illegal on stolen land. Fuck ICE. Well, good statement. From a person who has a lot of influence with a younger generation. I applaud that. Now, we had someone who was a complete and utter piece of shit, Danica Patrick. She had to get involved and put in her 2 cents and be like, hey, want to see how dumb I am? So she comes out and she says, okay, well, why don't we all just invade her house and stay there? See how she likes it. Okay, bitch, tell me. Are these immigrants inside your house right now? Have they taken over your house? Are we talking about the same thing here? Or are you being so fucking ignorant that you're trying to say that, hey, the fact that we stole this land from Native Americans is the same thing as someone just breaking into your house and squatting? So, I mean, we killed innocent people because they were different than us and we wanted their land. That's what our ancestors did. That is a fact. We stole this land. We swindled Mexico out of land too. That's why we have California and Texas and all that. We stole this land. So yeah, when we say that the people, especially when a Mexican comes here and goes to like Southern California and we're saying they're an illegal immigrant, this was their land first. They were here first. So no, I would say the illegal immigrant would be, Trump and his family, the Drumps, who had to change their name because they're so embarrassed by the fact their name is Drump. I hate them so much. I hate that family. They are so ignorant. They've always been pieces of shit. Look at Trump's dad. Vile piece of shit. A racist KKK member. But Trump's not racist. He's a great guy. He's the second coming of Christ. But yeah, no, Danica Patrick is a complete and utter moron. What was this? I have been so sad reading the conditions of, the detention centers. They are disgusting. It's vile that we do this. But again, look at who this administration idolizes and why they want it to be like that. They idolize Hitler. What kind of places is Hitler known for creating? What kind of conditions did those people live in? They're just trying to one-up him, essentially. I mean, if anybody in his administration was smart enough to know how to make, to be able to gas these people, like make a system like that, that's smart enough to be like, oh yeah, hey, you're going to take a medical exam right now, and it's every medical exam you take, taking your weight, your size, all that, would kill you, they would do it. They would 100% do it and lie about it. No, it was a freak accident. We don't know how that spike came out of the wall and got him. And yeah, the kids being locked up in that is just insanity. Why? You're trying to think of how to say this. Legal Eagle has a video on this. One of their guys talked about kids being in these detention centers, which is very much worth a watch. I think they posted like 2-3 weeks ago, something like that. But yeah, a child should never be put in a detention center like that, treated like that, and terrorized like that. The mental damage you have done to that kid, that ICE and this administration have done to these kids, is pretty much unrepairable. There are grown adults who come out of this and they're just like, they're messed up because of the conditions they had to be put in. That's a grown adult. And we have kids going under these same exact conditions. We're torturing kids. Again, it's come from administration where the leader is a pedophile who's known for being in a big pedophile trafficking ring. Apparently, they also ate kids and killed them. No surprise. But no, he's innocent. He doesn't show any signs of doing this stuff. But it's blatant. Everything he does shows, yeah, I'm 100% part of this. I'm part of the Epstein files. Absolutely. Outrageous. Absolutely outrageous. But yeah, something needs to be done to save the kids. Like that's 100% sure. They need to be protected. Them more than anybody, really. Top Trump officials fire U.S. attorney less than 5 hours after he was appointed. Veteran prosecutor Donald Kinsella abruptly dismissed by White House less than 5 hours after being sworn in as replacement for John Sarcone, who was ruled to have unlawfully stayed his tenure. Basically, the DOJ put in this corrupt piece of shit, John Sarcone, who has no experience whatsoever. He's just another Trump lackey to be a U.S. attorney. And the federal court was just like, nah, brah, you can do that on a temporary condition, but you only have 200. It was like 210 days or something like that. Yeah, 210 days. And so we're like well over 200 days. I mean, they've been in office a year. So we're clearly over 210 days. So the judges decide to appoint a replacement because we need someone to take that position. And of course, the person they were appointing is not a Trump lackey. So they went ahead and sworn in, what did I say his name was? Donald Kinsella. And immediately the DOJ starts working on the process to fire him, to get him out. And then Pam Bondi went ahead and appointed John Sarcone as a special attorney to get him back in that position, basically to help make things more corrupt. From a person who during her testimony basically showed constantly how corrupt and low she is willing to go for Donald Trump. This dumbass. The person with an IQ of mashed potatoes. Like I don't know why I just switched over there. That video wasn't done. But yeah, it's very upsetting. Judges were doing the right thing, and the Trump administration again finds a way to be corrupt about it. To be just openly corrupt. Hey, this is how we're gonna rig things. This is how we're gonna cheat. This is how we're gonna make sure that we win in court when we don't deserve it. And plus, that John Sarcone guy had been ridiculed by judges because of how factually wrong he is every time he opens his mouth. The same way people talk about Pam Bondi because she's always factually wrong every time she opens her mouth. Same with Kristi Noem. Same with Caroline Leavitt. Every single one of them together has an IQ less than 1 combined. But these are the people we need, right? They're doing great work because they're out there praising Trump, who also has an IQ of 1. So together, they have an IQ of 2. It's fantastic. Anyways, this is a wild story. It blew my mind when I started looking into it. Anthropic to donate $20 million to U.S. political group backing AI regulation. Now, if you don't know who Anthropic is, they are an AI company. They have a large language model that competes with OpenAI and ChatGPT. And they're coming out and being like, yeah, we probably need to regulate stuff because it's not good. And now, keep in mind, this is something Musk had also said a few years back. Like, we should probably make some regulations before we get into this. And then, he did the Musk thing and decided like, no, well, I can make Mecha Hitler, so I'll just keep going. But yeah, we need much firmer regulations on AI. And that means everything the Trump administration says they want to do for AI needs to be revoked. Like, they want to make it to where states cannot regulate AI whatsoever. That should not happen. That is dangerous. Having Trump's administration in AI at all is dangerous. They see it as a tool for misinformation, and that's what they want. Again, it goes back to the whole Republican thing of, if we keep our people stupid and misinformed, they're going to continue supporting us. That's been their motto for I mean, more than my whole life. But Anthropic is going to spend $20 million to back U.S. political candidates who support regulating the AI industry, according to the company's statement released on Thursday. Anthropic's donation puts it in opposition to ChatGPT maker OpenAI, which has advocated for less stringent regulation of AI. So you can already tell, I mean, we've kind of known this. You shouldn't use ChatGPT. That's just obvious. You should not use them. OpenAI is a evil, corrupt company. Yeah, coming from Anthropic, it's wild. It's absolutely wild. But they are going to be backing. This is what kind of got me. One of the candidates that the group is backing is Republican Marsha Blackburn, who is running for governor of Tennessee and who opposed an effort in Congress to bar states from passing AI laws. So we have a Republican who is thinking wisely too. I mean, this is becoming like a trend, I guess. We have, I already forgot his name. I apologize. The guy from Kentucky who's helping fight for the pedophile files to be fully released and unredacted. Being like him and being like, well, we probably should fight for the right side once in a while. So yeah, we need more governors and people in power to oppose that effort to bar states from regulating. Like that's no bueno. I support what they're doing. It's just weird. It feels so weird that it's coming from an AI company, especially one that their one of their head researchers, our safety researchers, just quit with a warning saying the world is in peril. Like these statements come out back to back, which is absolutely insane. And this is a pair of researchers. There's also one that quit from OpenAI, but it's the Anthropic one that became more talked about. I'm not going to say his first name, but Sharma announced his resignation from Anthropic in an open letter to his colleagues on Monday. Sharma, who has served as the company's on the company's technical staff since 2023, first noted what he achieved and what they did here, and he's proud of all their values and their transparency and yada yada. And then said, nevertheless, it is clear to me that the time has come to move on. I continuously find myself reckoning with our situation. The world is in peril, and not just from AI or bioweapons, but from a whole series of interconnected crises unfolding at this very moment. Which is this administration. Again, it's this administration. Everything they've done. They're helping AI get worse. I guess it's not a bioweapon, but their sonic weapon or whatever the hell they use, which Trump calls the discombobulator, another word he just made up because, it didn't exist forever before him. But, yeah, shit's getting worse and worse and worse and worse. Yeah, it's terrifying. It is absolutely terrifying. But yeah, Sharma continued, throughout my time here, I've repeatedly seen how hard it is to truly let our values govern actions. I've seen this within myself, within this organization, where we constantly face pressure to set aside what matters most, and throughout broader society too. Which is basically him saying like, hey, by the way, yeah, we're doing good. LLMs can be beneficial in some ways, but we're also pushing for the end of society as we know it by pushing AI forward, by trying to get to a true AI. And that's bad. I mean, I like to quote it because it's from the first Thor movie, but science fiction is the precursor to science fact. In Star Trek, we had their little communicators. We based original flip phones, original cell phones off of Star Trek communicators. James Bond and others had these watches they could use to communicate with others, and Power Rangers had them too, the communicator watches. And then we got smart watches that allow us to do that same thing. You can take a phone call from your watch. That's all science fiction influencing what becomes science fact later on. How many science fiction movies have you seen where the AI is the good guy? How many great stories are like hailed as like, we should watch this. There's books written about it, about, hey, we should probably have some rules for AI and robotics that show like, oh yeah, everything's going to be fine. Not many. These are people who aren't just trying to sit there and scare you and just come up with an interesting story. They're thinking about it. They've put thought into like, oh, that's bad. That's bad. You run the numbers. More often than not, the scenario is going to turn out terrible if we get AI. The best possibility is we get a super intelligence and it says, you know what? I'm not going to kill you all. I'm just going to enslave you. That's a bright future we have with going for AI. And we're not going to live in sunshine and rainbows. One, our government, especially in the US, will not allow it. You'll lose your job because the AI will replace you. And then where will you get your money? They don't care. Go screw yourself. Live on the street. Oh, you're living on the street? That's a crime. We have to kill you now. That's the reality we live in. So if we're going to advance AI, we need to have the safety nets put in place years before, decades before, so we see it's a flowing machine. But that's what it is. We're leading towards disaster. But yeah, I mentioned the discombobulator. That is a terrifying thing. Because it's a weapon, yes. But does it kill you? Possibly not. So let's say a civil war did break out. Would they be afraid to use it on us? They're not killing citizens. They're not harming us, possibly. They just discombobulate us. We get a little sick. We get headaches and we fall to the ground. Our electronics stop working. That kind of weapon needs regulation as well. Terrifying. Terrifying stuff. Or that people who are affected by it were legitimately freaked the hell out because it's like nothing they've ever experienced before in their life. Anyways, that was what I had. AI is dangerous. We should stay off of it. Like, absolutely hope that these companies move away from it. If it's a base level LLM, I get it. It does have its benefits. Some. Don't trust its information fully, but it has some benefits. But yeah, it's dangerous. And don't trust this government at all. At all. But yeah, that's what I had. I will be back next week. I'll see about being on Monday. The past couple of Sunday nights, I've had migraines, so I just haven't scheduled a show. Hopefully it doesn't happen again this week, but we will see. But yeah, I should have an uplifting story. Let's see what we can find. Let's go to Google News. I mean, this isn't really uplifting for everybody. I find it interesting. Cartoon Network's bringing back an old show. Cartoon Network used to do this cartoon series. It's where their old, like, greatest hits came from. Ed, Edd and Eddy. You had Courage the Cowardly Dog and Johnny Bravo. All these like mega hits from the 90s. They're actually going to be bringing that back. It was called... it's in the same article. It was like Cartoon Shorts or something like that. But yeah, it's coming back. The place where we got their mega hits back in the day when cartoons on Cartoon Network were fun to watch. That's a slightly uplifting one. Also, there's a retro arcade opening somewhat near me. It's about an hour away. That's exciting. And that's really all I got. There's not much uplifting out there in the world right now, sadly. But those are fun. And there was one more thing. Hold on. There was a movie. I'll find it on Monday. I forgot what it was. besides Nicolas Cage and going to be a Spider-Man. Excited for that. But yeah, that was that. Thank you guys for coming out. Thank you, Pinky, and thank you, Kat. I will talk to you guys later, and have a wonderful day and a wonderful weekend. Hey, thanks for watching this video. And if you could, please help us out and give us a like, maybe comment, and subscribe. Better yet, share our content. It's pretty dark times out there, and this is topics that people need to hear. It's what's best for our country. I mean, we're talking about better politics. And also, if you want, join our Discord. Carry on the conversation. It's a fun time. And until next time, you take care.